What's happening, everybody? It's me, Crazy Frankie, and I'd like to welcome you to my playoff edition on my 4 key game picks. This is the first year that I'm actually doing the playoffs. Normally, at the end of every season, I would stop my video after week 17 because I really enjoy watching the NFL playoffs, and the playoffs are very, very hard to pick because you never know which game could be an upset or which game could be a close game or anything like that. And I just really love watching it. I don't tend to get involved with who I think is going to win and all that. But this year I decided to do it, and this is going to be my first time doing it this year. And of course, this is Wild Card Weekend as we head now, as this is the first video into 2015, and this is all going to be talking about the playoffs now. Yeah, I know you're saying, okay, Jim Moore, yeah, playoffs. No. Jim Moore is the only one that can master that word, playoffs. Anyways, now, as anybody who watches who's a big NFL fan as me, you know the playoffs are great to watch. You never know which game could be a classic, which game could be something special. You know, I mean, this is really one of the best times of the year after the regular season has ended. And of course, the 4 wild card games, of course, are the Ravens at the Steelers, Bengals at the Colts, Cardinals at the Panthers, and the Lions at the Cowboys. And now, let's get into it. All right, AFC wild card game, Ravens at the Steelers. The Steelers are a 3-point favorite in this one. This might be the toughest one to pick. And the reason I say this is a tough one, if anybody who's a fan of the Ravens or the Steelers, you know when these two teams play each other, it is hard. It is basically old-fashioned, hard ass-kicking football. This is really old school right here when these two teams play. And as the odds makers have Pittsburgh as a 3-point favorite, no question, I would say it might be even closer than that. It wouldn't surprise me if it goes to 2 or 1 point in the spread. But looking at these two teams right now, and the way both teams ended the regular season, now Pittsburgh beating Cincinnati to win the division, they get the home. This is the home game for them. They get the home game. But knowing Baltimore, you know when they play Pittsburgh, you know this is a tough game. It's always a tough game between these two teams. It's an offensive struggle. It's more lines of defense. But really, in this game, like I said, this is probably out of these 4 wild card games, this is probably the toughest one to pick. You know how these two teams play each other. Now, Roethlisberger coming up last week. I mean, I know he was a little bit on edge because he was sick when he played that game against the Bengals last week. And for the Ravens, they virtually had to come from behind to win their game just to get into the playoffs, thanks to San Diego losing. But now with these two teams meeting in the first round here in this wildcard game, no question this is the tough one to pick here. Pittsburgh's offense and the Ravens' offense, they're pretty much even. But I would say maybe a slighter edge might go to Baltimore on that category. Defense-wise, both of them are even. I don't see either team having an advantage in terms of that. But like I said, this is the third time I said this. It's a hard one to pick here. Let's see. Who do I go with in this game? I'm actually going to go out on the upset here. I'm actually going to pick Baltimore in this game. I think the Ravens are going to beat the Steelers. Like I said, if there's going to be one game I might be wrong on this, it might be this one. Now, I know everybody was going to say Pittsburgh might win this one, Baltimore might win this one. Like I said, this is a tough one to pick here out of all these 4 wildcard games. And the reason I say Baltimore's winning, this is a team I would not want to face. They've been to the Super Bowl 2 years ago, and it would not surprise me if they make a run, if somehow they beat Pittsburgh here. And the way Pittsburgh is right now, you don't know with this Pittsburgh team. Sometimes they're playing. If you watch them in the regular season, they sometimes played good, and they had some downer games. So it's really tough to say right now. But I think I would have my better odds. I would say Baltimore. I would pick Baltimore in this one here. As long as Joe Flacco's the quarterback and he's got his wide receivers and a good running game, there's no reason why you can't go out if you can't go and not pick Baltimore here. So I'm going to go out, and this might be the upset of the weekend, but it would not surprise me if I'm wrong here. Like I said, both these teams play hard. It is the toughest one to pick out of the 4 games here, but I'm going to go with the Ravens here. Ravens over the Steelers. AFC wildcard game, Bengals at the Colts. Pardon me. This one's kind of a little bit an easier one to pick here. Now, I know the Colts... I know they've had some downer games, but I don't know if I want a team it's been playing pretty darn good football here, other than the Colts here. The Bengals, you don't know with them, just like the Steelers. You don't know how they were during the regular season. They had some good games and they had some bad games. And for the Bengals, I don't know which Bengal team is going to show up. Now I know they showed up one game on primetime, and that was 2 weeks ago against the Broncos. But you look at Andy Dalton's record in the playoffs, he's 0-3. He has not won a playoff game yet. If this is going to be the year for Andy Dalton to get off the schneid, this is it right here. But unfortunately, it's the wrong opponent to do it with. I like the way the Colts have been playing these last 4 games. They won the division pretty handily, even though their only loss from that stretch was to the Cowboys. But how can you not go with the Colts in this one here? I like Indianapolis here. Indianapolis seems to have and Andrew Luck. Remember, he's already won a playoff game already. He's already won a playoff game than Andy Dalton has. And how can I not trust this Colt team to go a little bit further? I think like I said, I will go with the Colts in this one here. Colts are a 3-point favorite in this one. And like I said, this game might be close. This game I think will be close, but I think Indianapolis will have enough to beat the Bengals here. I like them beating Cincinnati here, especially because their track record at home is very good. They're a very good home team, and I don't see why not. They see them beating the Bengals here. Indy's offense is a little bit better than Cincinnati's. Defense-wise, both teams are pretty even. But I think that the Colts have enough. They have enough to beat the Bengals here. I'm going to say the Colts over the Bengals. Now let's get into the NFC wildcard games. NFC wildcard game, Cardinals at the Panthers. The odds makers have the Panthers as a 6.5-point favorite. I kind of agree with them, but let's just see how well Arizona does here in their first playoff game in nearly 3 years. The last time the Cardinals were in the playoffs was during the 2009 season, and they lost to the Saints in the divisional round. So it's been a little bit of time since this team has been there. So it's tough to say right now. I mean, I know the biggest backlash for the Cardinals right now is they have no quarterback, but for Carolina, with a bad record in the NFC South. I mean, blowing out the Atlanta Falcons here. You would say, yeah, I would kind of agree. They are a slight favorite in this one, but it would not surprise me if Arizona actually puts up a fight here. Now, I'm still going to go with the Panthers here. I'm going to pick Carolina here. I think that as long as Cam Newton can play at a good level, I see them beating the Cardinals here. I think the Cardinals, just without a quarterback, I don't give them much of a chance to beat Carolina. But I wouldn't worry too much now. I mean, once Carolina gets into the division round, I don't see them getting far. But if the Cardinals hadn't had like Stanton or Palmer not hurt and ended their regular season, then I probably would have changed my mind here. But since Arizona has no quarterback, it's hard not to go against the Panthers here. So there's no question here. You got to go with the Panthers here. I'm pretty much certain that the Panthers will have enough to beat the Cardinals here. So no question. I got to say Panthers over the Cardinals. NFC wildcard game, the Lions at the Cowboys. Now, Ndamukong Suh has appealed his suspension. I think all of you know already, and he will be playing in this game. Now that is huge, and I mean huge, because without Suh, I think the Lions I still think the Lions are not going to win this game. I'm going to pick the Cowboys here, but let me give you a little bit of reasoning here. Now, if Suh was still suspended there's no question I would see the Cowboys blowing out the Lions here. But now that Sue's in the lineup and everybody on that defense is there, it's going to be a much closer game than you think. I think this one will be a very close game, but I still like the Cowboys here. I just think the Cowboys offense, you go through DeMarco Murray, he should be ready for this one. I mean, I think he's still questionable, but I think he should be ready here. If this is going to be Tony Romo's chance to prove himself, this is the year to do it. I mean, he's got a running game, and his wide receivers are still there. So yeah, if this is going to be a game that Tony Romo needs to make a statement and prove himself, this is it. This is the game to do it and to see how far they're going to get. So no question here, I like the Cowboys in this one. I think their offense is much better than the Lions is. But with Sue playing in this game, he appealed the suspension, so he's going to be playing in this game. So there's no question I expect this game to be much closer than people think. If he was not there, then there's no question that I would say the Cowboys will blow out the Lions. But Sue's presence there defensively is needed for a Lions to even have a chance. But I just don't think they have enough. Their offense is still not intact. I mean, I know this is Matthew Stafford's second playoff game, but I just don't think this Lions team is not complete. They're not a complete team. I don't see them getting past the Cowboys here. There's no question. You got to go with the Cowboys over the Lions. And of course, seedings are going to be different. So whoever wins these games, as of course the Patriots are the 1 seed and the Broncos are the 2nd seed. Of course, in the NFC, the Seahawks are the 1 seed and the Packers are the 2nd seed. So it goes. If you're a little bit confused on the NFL playoffs, the way it works is that depending on the outcome of the games, going into next week's divisional round, the 1 seed plays the lowest seed remaining. So whoever's the lowest seed left coming out of Wild Card Weekend will play the Patriots. And whoever's the 2 seed, like the Broncos, whoever comes out as the highest remaining seed, in other words, it could be 3, 4, or 5, depending on the outcome of the games, they will end up playing Denver. And vice versa when it comes to the Seahawks and the Packers. So let me recap it again if you're still confused. I know a lot of you should know already what will happen, but the 1 seed plays the lowest. The number 1 seed go into the divisional round plays the lowest seed remaining that survived the wild card round, and the 2nd seed, whoever survives out of the wild card round, the 2nd highest remaining, will end up playing the 2 seed. That's how the procedure works in the NFL when it comes to a playoff format. It's not a straightforward structure like some other sports are, but that's the way it goes. Well, everybody, I hope everybody enjoyed their New Year's. Hopefully that everybody is ready for whatever happens in 2015 for you guys as we start off the year, of course, with the NFL playoffs. I cannot wait for this weekend to start the first weekend of the NFL playoffs. And, of course, I will see you all next week when I talk about the divisional round. And, of course, after that, the conference championship as well as Super Bowl 49. I will see you all next week. Take care.